guys, it's Becky with Design Bundles, and today I'm excited to give you a much requested tutorial. I'm here to show you how to download a design bundle, but it doesn't stop there, it gets better. We're going to sort through the bundle and also give you our best tips and tricks for being able to save all those files, because you know you're going to want to come back and find those files later. So let's go ahead and jump over and we'll get started.
Okay guys, so here we are on the Design Bundles website, and to find the bundles you can just choose the Bundles tab here and then scroll down just a little bit and you can see all the bundles that are available. Now the one that I want is this Christmas craft bundle. So what I'll do is I will choose add to cart, and then I can come to the cart, check out now. Now you see I've accumulated several things, so I can save those for later. And when it's time to make my purchase, I just hit continue to payment. And of course I can choose my payment type, but I like to check out with store credit. And then I will go ahead and download. Now this is going to bring me to my purchases menu. And if I choose download files here, you'll see that I can choose part 1, part 2. These are going to be the entirety of the bundle, or if I only need the PNG files or I only need the SVG files, I can do those here as well. So Design Bundles is really great about breaking those up for you. I am going to go ahead and download part 1 and part 2. That way you can get the full experience of sorting through a bundle. So we will give those just a few minutes, and then we will take a look and see what they look like after they download. Okay, so once the download has completed, this is my downloads folder. Okay, and you can see I have both the part 1 and the part 2 here, right? And so all I need to do, well, I guess what I need to do first is I'm going to open them up, and I want to choose extract all. And what this is going to do is it's going to copy everything that I need extracted, and it's going to bring it into an open format. It's going to bring it out of this zipped folder and put it into a regular folder. And this is going to take a little while too, just like the downloads, because they contain so many files. Okay, so just set this to extract and then leave it in the background, and we will come back and check it out in a few. Okay, so once you have all your files downloaded, let me show you something that I do. If you've noticed, at the beginning of these bundles, so this one says CCBV4. Okay, so that is, I don't want to say it's a code name, but that is more or less like it's an acronym. It's an acronym that represents that bundle, and that's what Design Bundles is using to identify that bundle in the files like this. Okay, so what I'll do, because I have a lot of things that I download throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, and I don't always get to this part right away because I'll let them download and unzip in the background, right? So what I will do is I will actually do CCBV4 right up here in my search. And what it does is it locates not only the folders, but all the files contained in those folders, and you can actually sort out by type. And this would actually be a really quick way to just come in here and grab all the files that you need. But it's also kind of a messy way because you know, you just kind of have everything crammed together, and I'm never really convinced that I'm getting everything out of the bundle. And I don't know why I feel that way. Maybe it just seems too easy. But just know that you can actually come in here and you can do that, and you can search for that acronym and kind of get the shortcut preview. Oh, I remember why. Because there's actually a chance that you could be pulling up things that are outside of the bundle too. So it can just kind of get confusing, but just know that that option is there. Alright, so hopefully that made sense to you guys. That's just kind of like a cheat. We don't actually have to use that today. Alright, now let me show you. I'm going to just go through the all files part 1 and all files part 2. So I'm going to go ahead and open the part 1 folder. And what I want to show you is you actually get a really awesome cheat sheet. Okay, down here at the bottom where it says Design Bundles, it's usually the last thing. Okay, but this is your cheat sheet And let's let this open up real quick. This is going to tell you everything that was included in this bundle. Alright, so this is also really good because if you are a visual person, then that means that you can actually print this out if you want to. As you go through and sort, you can make notes with this, you can, get a preview, you can cross them off. I don't know, I mean, whatever you need to do. I just know that sometimes having this printed out can help you with your sorting process, right? So not only do you get that, but you get, if I open up the SVG, this is another cheat sheet, and let me tell you why this is important. Because not only am I getting a little thumbnail preview of each file that came in this bundle, well, each SVG file, but I'm getting its name. So if right off the bat, I haven't sorted this out yet, and I'm like, hey, I want to be able to craft with one of these files right away, I can come to this cheat sheet for the SVG, find the one that I'm looking for. So let's scroll down. Let's say I want to use, well, I'm trying to think. There is one that I want to use. It's called Baking Spirits Bright. Oh, you know what? Here we go. I really like this Christmas typography. Okay, so I know I would be able to just type in Christmas typography and it will come up. So let's minimize that, and I can just come straight over here and type in even just the beginnings to the Christmas typography. And if it's in this folder, then it's going to bring it up. Now, it might be in the Part 2 folder. If I just go back to downloads, there we go. I can bring it in. And if I hit show all 11, so it was in the Part 2 folder. Okay, but having those file names is really important because it lets you search by that exact file name. Because I mean, these are all Christmas files, so it's not even, you can be like, oh, I'm gonna search for Christmas. Yeah, well, you're gonna get a lot of results because this is a whole Christmas bundle. Okay, so hopefully that helped a little bit. You have the same exact thing going on for your PNG files too. Okay, so now let's talk about how to sort out one of these main folders. All right, so I'm going to open this up. Now let's talk about this for a minute. Is there a reason why I need all of the different file types that are contained in here? Well, yes and no. All right, let's just use this top one for example. Okay, and it's going to have the DXF, it's going to have a PDF, a PNG, it's going to have all these different file types that I may or may not use. Okay, so for example, if I am strictly, right now I'm a vinyl cutter, and all I care about are the SVG files, then I can go and I can download that folder of just SVG files, right? But what if I need the DXF file? Well, that's going to be different because maybe I'm using a program like Silhouette Studio Basic Edition. You can only use the DXF files. You can't use those SVG files. So that's where this would come into handy. Okay. And if I minimize that, I've opened a separate folder here. And in my documents, I have my crafting files folder, and I can sort out all the different file types that I want to keep. Okay, so Believe AI I don't need. Let's condense these a little bit. There we go. So that way I can see the file type over here. Okay, but for example, so the DXF file. And you know what, just for giggles, let's go ahead and switch over. I want to view by medium icons. That way I can at least get a little preview of what I'm working with here. Okay, so Believe DXF, I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to drag and drop that over into SVG files. Okay, now I can continually do that until I get them all built up, or because I know that these are all Christmas, okay, I have my own Christmas folder. Alright, so then what I can do is go through and all of these DXF files, so here's my December 25th, I can just drag and drop it over into my Christmas folder. because these are all Christmas. So I can even do this. Let's talk about doing this in bulk. Now, that's kind of a little stretch. I don't really know that this is bulk per se, but if I hold down the control button on my keyboard while I'm clicking on this, I can select all of my different files that I want to bring over. And I can drag and drop those, and see that drag and drop 3 at one time. All right, one more cheat. Say you're like, hey, I know these are all Christmas. I don't care about a preview. Well, let's go back to viewing these by details. And this is where that sorting by type comes into play. I can come down here and I can say, okay, these are all DXF files. And I'm going to drag and drop all of those over here. And then you say to yourself, well, you know, I have started playing with sublimation, so maybe I need more than just the DXF files. Okay, maybe I want these PNG files. Now, of course, there's a special PNG folder that you can download that will have all the PNG folders, but we're not going to get into that. So if I come back and go up, then I can say, well, here's my sublimation files, commercial use, here's Christmas. And then I can do the same thing here. I can select all of these PNG files and I can move them over. Okay, so one of the questions that you're asking yourself is, Becky, do I really have to go through these one by one? Well, in theory, you do. If you're going to sort them out like this, you're looking at, even if you're not looking at each file individually, you're still looking at each folder contained in these folders. So that was one folder out of all of these, and on top of that, this is only one folder out of 2. So as you can see, this would actually take a while. All right, so that's why you have those folders that are all PNG and all SVG, because those are the ones that are most common. Those are the most common file types that you're going to be looking for. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. I'm going to switch back over to my downloads. Okay, so let's talk about, I keep talking about these files that have just the SVG and the PNG. Okay, here we go. Here's just the SVG folder. Now, I say just SVG, but these are still broken out into all the different individual folders for the designer and the design that it came with. You still get your cheat sheet down here that'll give you the names of all of them. You can also import these in bulk. Now, let's hit the pause on that real quick. We have a video to show you how to bulk import into Silhouette Studio if you are storing your designs in the library. All right, so I mean, that's definitely a benefit to have, that you can bring these in there and you can drag and drop instead of having to sort them this way. Now, if you guys have watched my video on how to organize your SVG files, you'll notice that that's where these folders come in over here. And this is the way that I do recommend for people to store their and organize their files. That way you have more flexibility and you're not relying on them being stored in the Silhouette library, because unfortunately there have been times in the past when people have lost their Silhouette library. Now don't worry, design bundles would still be there for you if you want to store them in your library, but it just means that you would come back and you would re-download these folders and then you would have to sort them a second time. So if you want to hear my whole spiel on organizing your SVG files, then you know, definitely watch that video on getting those set up and organizing those. To all my Cricut people, unfortunately, I don't have a mass upload option for you, but I'll say this, I still recommend for you to sort your files out this way. And then sublimation people, you guys, I mean, you just all have to sort your files out this way anyway. So where I'm going with this is, hey, guys, why don't you sort your files out this way? Now, I'm not saying that you can't customize this, okay? But this is what I have going on. I have commercial use, and then I come in here and sort them out. Some people also, I don't know why you would, but if you happen to buy designs that are from places other than Design Bundles, then of course you can have the option to keep those separately. And some of the reasons why you would want to do that would just be because the Design Bundles usage license is going to be different than usage licenses from other marketplaces and vendors. So that's where I'm going with that. But what you can do is this saves you, and when I talk about this, I'm talking about the file just for SVG or the file just for PNG, even if you're going to sort them out into these folders over here. This still saves you from having to do any sort of sorting on your own. So like I could open a Very Merry Christmas. Well, no, I've already done that one. Let's choose the next one. Big Christmas. And then come back into, not Sublimation, but SVG. And then I know that all these are just SVG. So I just Control A to select all and drag and, well, hold the boat, Becky. Commercial usage, Christmas, there we go. Drag and drop these over here. Now that is 101 files. Okay, so just throwing it out there, instead of sorting through and finding those, or even having to sort through, because if there's 101 SVG files, then in the main folder there's probably 101 PNGs and 101 DXF. So there's definitely something to be said. If you have the option that you are only using SVG and or only using PNG, then download these individual folders versus the mega folder. Okay, does that make sense? So hopefully I'm helping you guys with that. Now we have talked about, we went through the downloading, all right, and the different folders that you can download. We went through sorting. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of good news there, other than, if you're an SVG or PNG user, then you can use those specific folders. But I did show you those cheat sheets, okay? And I promise you, those cheat sheets really, really come in handy. And guess what? You can also, I'm just kind of throwing it out there, you could even keep these, if you are going to print them anyway, you could kind of keep those in a paper folder. Now I'm just speaking to my people that, some people, they take screenshots of their whole library and they print those out so that they can flip through them without having to search electronically. So whatever floats your boat, those cheat sheets are good for finding things quickly, but then they're also good for those of us who like to keep printed hard copies and just work better with that type of format. So no judging there, no judging. Okay, so let's go through some more of these. I'm going to go back to, and guys, unfortunately, it just takes a long time, and I would like to say that there is an easier way to do this, but I have not found an easier way to do this in order to be able to sort these into files on your computer for the best saving process. Now, like I said, we have a video on that mass upload to Silhouette Studio if you want to bring them into your library, but I'm just not, while that seems easier now, I'm just not convinced that that is the best option for the long run. So my words of wisdom are going to be along the lines of more work now for better rewards later. So whether that helps or hurts, I don't know. But as you can see, once I get going, especially in this SVG specific folder, even though I do go folder by folder, it's kind of fast going. Now, let me double click this right here, and I want to show you why, because you may be asking, why don't I just drag and drop them in their folders? Well, because I like to get a preview. So in with that video where I told you that I showed you how to organize, or how I organize all my files, I also show you how to get a preview of all of your SVG documents, what am I saying? All of your SVG files. So if I go to view and large icons, I get a preview of all of these. Whereas if I had left them in their folder, then I would still have to go into each individual folder, and I don't want to do that. I want to do this. This, to me, in my opinion, is the easiest way to get all of my Christmas commercial usage files in one location so that I can just scroll and see them all at one time. Now, if you run into a situation where you're kind of bogging down your computer, getting all these moved over, it may be that you're running out of memory. Now, that doesn't usually happen when we're just moving from one location to another. But I just wanted to throw it out there that the more, because these bundles are really big, especially if you start working with like PNG and image files. SVG is not quite as much, but PNG and image files, once you get quite a few bundles under your belt, you may want to think about backing these up electronically. And then you can even delete them from your main hard drive and things will move faster. So, for example, I have an automatic backup to a cloud service. And you can use pretty much any cloud service out there. And it'll come in and it'll do my automatic backup. But for my main file storage, I also have an external hard drive. So that way I can keep all of my files on the external hard drive and it will stop it from bogging down my computer. So, I'm telling you, I have this saved in my documents, and that's true. But, I'm just saying that if you notice that memory and storage space is becoming an issue for you, think about getting an external hard drive, and then you can literally take these folders all in one fell swoop and move them over to your external hard drive and continue this same system. And that's another reason why I like this, is because it's user-friendly in that way, that you're not learning something completely new. You are just basically starting with the organization. Okay, so, all right, well, I'm going to stop harping about organization, but that's what you're going to do. You're going to come through in these folders, and you are going to open these, unfortunately, one by one and sort them. The good news is that this time of year, when you're buying bundles that are themed, like Christmas, then I know that basically all of these are going to come over into my Christmas folder. So that makes it really easy. But say I purchased a bundle that was mixed, and I had some mom and some, some 4th of July and maybe some school themed or whatever, and it's more of a mixed bundle, then what you'll want to do, let me show you how easy that is. And we did this to begin with, but that way, instead of opening up a specific file, you can just be like, oh hey, these are Christmas themed, so I'm just going to drag and drop these into the folder. So instead of opening up that specific folder, we'll just hover over the folder, and it literally will drop them all straight in there. Okay, is that making any sense? So, now let's talk about what happens if I want to keep all of the different formats that these come in. Well, as you can see, my folders are set up here. They are organized by what I would use them for. So like I have all my mockups here. My sublimation files are going to be like my PNGs and my pattern backgrounds and that sort of thing. And then I have my SVGs, which really, when I say SVGs, I mean my cut files. And then I have my printables. So it's not that you can't keep all the different formats. Number one, do you really need all the formats? And if the answer is yes, then think about organizing them like this. So if I'm in the mood for, a sublimation folder, I can come into my sublimation files and locate one that's specific to sublimation. Okay, so you may ask yourself, well, Becky, I use SVG files for sublimation too. Yes, I know. Like, I don't know that there's a perfect system, but I really like doing it this way, and I think that you'll like doing it this way too, especially if you're just starting out. So if you're a beginner, I just want to plead with you to whatever filing method you create, just try to keep up with it and take the time with these bundles and go through them. I know it's a pain and I know it's a long process, but I promise if you devoted probably half an hour, then you would have this done, and then you wouldn't ever have to worry about it again, as long as you have some sort of backup in place. So, all right, I'm getting off the soapbox. That's my deal about downloading, organizing, and saving your design bundles, because we love bundles and bundles are great. And they can be intimidating, but with a couple of these tips and tricks, hopefully we took that intimidation out for you. All right, let's do the wrap up, guys.
So, how do we feel about sorting through the bundles? Now, naturally, you know, we love bundles. Bundles are great. I don't have to tell you guys on all the great benefits of bundles. I will if you want me to. But hopefully I was able to pass on some tips and tricks for you today, because I know that it can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes to sort through those bundles and know kind of what to do with everything. And don't forget, I'm going to link those videos for you down below. That way you have a little bit of knowledge, right, to help you maybe with some other sorting or getting organized. But guys, if you have any questions, make sure you leave those below, because I really do love to hear from you. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, because that gives us a win-win situation. We love to have subscribers, and that helps us also keep bringing you these really awesome videos, and hopefully that helps you in the long run on your crafting journey. So, alright guys, I'm going to wrap it up for today, but I just really appreciate you stopping by, and we will see you again next time.